Good evening, law editors. It's just a brief update. I haven't been able to do much outside the last few days because of weather issues. And as part of the announcement I made last night, it's all a matter, I'm waiting on lumber, to accumulate lumber to build a new shed. So what I'm going to try and do is work on the layout during the drier days and warmer days, I should state. And do that, start a series on Dovetail Games Train Simulator. And this will give you a quick idea of some of the routes I have to play with. Great Western Main Line, Somerset and Dorset, which is a good one. Doncaster Works, which is where a lot of the British locomotives were built. Horseshoe Curve, hint hint Sparky. This is a real interesting run, because this is from the Pensy steam day, late steam era, to modern, minus the, you'd have to remove one track around the curve to make it. Well, from all the way from, I want to say just shy of Alto Tower, all the way to Johnstown, PA. And of course, Marias Pass, which we all should remember from one very particular early game years back. Northeast Corridor. Sherman Hill, which, yes, I do have the big boy and Challenger. The one I need to get is the FEF. Then Norfolk Southern Coal District, which is actually incorrect. This is actually the Pensy side of the line. The Monongahela side is actually on the opposite side of the river from where this is done at. Which I do have a book which I'll have to bring when we do that route. And of course I got a little one from way back in 14. And here's one I think Vinny would like. Parvo to Helper, Soldier Summit. Western Lines of Scotland. This is a massive map. This would take almost 2 months to do. Woodhead, which is a line that was in northern England. And I'll put it to you this way, it is huge. Then we got the Isle of Wight, which is a little branch line similar to the Bluebell Railway in England. Of course, Conjunction Pass. Then Clear Creek Narrow Gauge, which is essentially the Denver and Rio Grande Narrow Gauge, which that is another extensive map, which I still gotta get a couple more additional packs for it. Falmouth Branch Line, which is a Great Western Main Line in England. This is a little short line I still have to explore it a little bit. This is just a little screwball one, and they kick you with certain engines. This is the S&D, the rest of the way of pretty much the whole Somerset and Dorset Railroad, right in this one map. It's massive. This is a freebie, Hedgerow North, which I'm still missing some stuff for it. Roquette, there's still a few. There's so many items I'm missing pieces on. And as you can see, there's just quite a few different routes that we could choose. And if you have a particular engine you hate, you can just run it off a cliff. Quite literally. And yes, I even have the Western Maryland Scenic, but that one's gonna be one of those I'd have to sit down and actually build assets for it and actually build it. And there was a few that I picked up the various locomotives, but I've only got 16 pages of locomotives here to run, I can play with. Everything from a Stanier 7F and 8F to little 040s, AMD EM7s, or AME 7s, Excella's F40 PHs. I mean, you guys get the idea. I'm just going to do a brief scroll. And yes, we even do have I have several different variants of the Jeep 9s. Including everybody's favorite several people's favorite locomotives, GS4 and the Berkshire, which have been a few reskins on these to do into C&O Kanawha classes, which there's like only a handful of design changes that would be needed to make it into a true Kanawha, which in this game it's easy to do. But as you can see, there's the LMS 8F. All that 8F means it was a heavy freight locomotive. It was a whole classification system they had for their engines. But I even got the GG1s, SD45s. This engine here has got a particular history to it for any of you who are familiar with the Blue Peter locomotive. Quite a number of years back, I want to say sometime in the early 90s, late 80s, they had an epic episode wheel slip where the steam chest on the driver's side physically exploded. And I mean, to the point where they had to recast the entire steam chest and do some extensive repair work on it. And of course, I got the Flying Scotsman. This is the bare bones edition of it. And of course, the Black 5, RS11s, Jeep 7, GG1, K4. Now this one here, this one here is its own little character. You actually pump that car like you would move, like if you were actually moving a car, pumping one in real life. And of course, you got little speeders and other little odds and ends to play with. Which I do have a couple SW engines too. This one's a challenge, but these two here, which Sparky, I think for the first one we might do is this one here. The big boy. Unfortunately, you cannot pick the numbers. But just for hee-hee and ha-has, I want to just give you guys a little tease here. And I can't do it the way I want to do it. Let's see, you can do it with passenger consist also on some engines. Which the other one I got is a pair of the shark. Well, I got the shark noses also. Which the way this works, the engines average about $20 a piece. And it gives you actual physics like the real locomotives have. And I'll tell you this much, you want to talk about battle up some grades. These engines will show you the type of battle the crews had on their hands. And of course, the other one that a lot of modelers love. The SD40-T, SD40Ts, -2s. Very synonymous with Soldier Summit. Which I know under the scenarios, I do have a scenario for running the big boy over Horseshoe Curve. But it was back in the Steam era, because unfortunately I don't have all the packs necessary to run it. Which, as you can see, the screenshot for the engine's broke, but it still works. And yeah, they're not joking on how hard the difficulty is. Well, I want to let this run for a few more minutes, guys, so you can actually see how long this game takes to load. And when I go to do this, I will be live streaming it. Which is going to be kind of interesting, because I have to figure out how to do it in such a way you guys can still see the mouse, which I might switch it over to a TV. Because I do have that beast there that I can hook up to. Because I got the cable specifically for it. Which all this is hooked up to is just a standard HP Pavilion desktop. Okay, it's a Slimline 400 series, which may not sound like much, but with this game, you don't need that much in the way of hardcore hardware to run it. But they have different variations of this game. They have a 32 and a 64-bit one, as well as the generic one. Which, as you can see, is some of the screenshots that other people have done. Okay, I might have to report that one, because I've never had that issue before. But you can do different careers on different routes and such. Like case in point here, you have night switching, working with sharks, which is basically like a yard job. And mind you, all this stuff here, you have scoring on. And anytime you see the cold and dark, you have to crank up the engine yourself, which is a little bit more fun, in my opinion. Honestly, I think if I was to do this right, I'm going to have to start with some of these easier ones for you guys so you can get an idea, get a feel for it. Like case in point, Altoona to Crescent passenger run, which this takes you over. Crescent is the next town down the hill from Altoona. Or not Altoona, but Glitzen. Glitzen is where the world famous twin bore tunnels were, which now there's only a single tunnel there. But if you actually see the tunnels today versus the one that they blocked up, that Conrail blocked up, it's actually a night and day difference. And Tom's Trains and Things doing a drawing for the 10K right now, so you get a chance, check it out. Anyway, modelers, I'm going to have to stop this video and post this. So, if you have any questions on what, or suggestions on which one we should do first, because we can do the classic, I was going to use the horseshoe curve since a lot of people know about the curve itself, but want to know what it's actually like to drive a train over the hill. Well, I'm going to give you an idea. The way we're going to start off, though, is going the way Sparky would go, since he's coming from Scranton the previous day, which this also passes right by where the Railroaders Museum is, and where the engine that shall not be named, numbered, mentioned, because the city of Altoona has pretty much peed off quite a few rail fans over its restoration, because it's been stalled for the last 25 years. Yes, I'm one of the people that's pissed off about it. Which is one of the last two remaining K4 Pacific steam engines. Yeah. It's going to take a while. Anyway, modelers, sorry to keep the rambling. But I think what we'll do is we'll start off with one of these passenger runs. Which there's quite a few of them here. Including, well, this one here, I still have a few odds and ends I gotta get before I can run it all. The 44 ton C40 I have to still get yet. And anytime you see the 0, that means I don't have all the stuff for it. Now, there's an interesting engine. But anyway, I'll get this posted for you guys. But give me feedback on what you want to see me do.